Hello to all of Gemini, and hello to all of Cancer, and hello to everyone that was born on the Gemini Cancer cusp. This reading is for you, and we're here at the start of August, so whenever you're viewing this video is probably the right time to receive these messages. What we're going to do is we're going to take an oracle from the Taurus side of things. Sorry, not from the Taurus side of things. This is for Gemini, an oracle message for Gemini, and then on the other side, we're taking the oracle message from Cancer. Okay, I'm a little tired. It's a little hot here, guys, so bear with me. Tarot's going to do the same thing. This one for Gemini, and this one for Cancer, and then for you Cuspers on Gemini Cancer, we're going to have your best path to follow, followed by a clarifier card. Okay, so let's take a look in here at Gemini and see what is the oracle message for Gemini. We're not doing any reversals for these Cuspers. Okay, we're taking flippers, sliders, poppers, jumpers, and stickers. Okay, so that's the card that is meant to come out of the deck for each one. All right, now Peaks of Joy. It's crazy to me, like, I can't make this stuff up. And if you're checking out a cusp, there's probably little chance that you're cross-watching for another cusp. But I gotta tell you, when I did these cusp readings, this is the last one that I did on the list, to be honest. And we've got Peaks of Joy. And there were, I think, maybe 2, 3, possibly even 4 others where this card popped out of this deck on this side when we were doing it. So maybe this is just saying, like, we have to contain ourselves in certain situations when we're maybe not sure of how the response is going to be around our display of emotion, okay? Each time I pulled this card, it's come with a different feeling. And for this is the most conservative feeling I've had so far when I pulled this card. This person is on cloud 9, floating on thin air. They're in the right headspace. They're in the right place at the right time, the right space and time, okay? And it's a really positive card here to see. But this card as well, I feel, comes with this message for you guys, is that the display of happiness, perhaps, or whatever it might be, there needs to be a certain amount of grace or gratitude attached to it, because as with Peaks of Joy, we always have to keep the yin and the yang, right? There could be valleys of sorrow, right, that we pass through. Luckily, it doesn't appear that you're in one of those now, but the way to stay up when you're on top, because that old adage of what goes up must come down, and when you're a Peak of Joy, you don't want to come off cloud 9. Nobody does. And how do we stay up there? Through grace and gratitude and understanding. So I feel that that's a big message coming in from the Gemini side, okay? And that's really cool to see. Now we're going to take a look at the Cancer side. This is the last one. So Cancer actually was a part of the very first video I did as we started this up, and now it's ending up with Cancer. So we're asking, what is the oracle message coming in from the Cancer side, all right? And you guys have card number 10, Unfinished Symphony. All right. And this is the card to say here that you are a bit of a director. You're a bit of a creator right now. There are things that need to get wrapped up, and you need to pay attention to what those things are at this time. And also, when we are finishing this proverbial symphony up, or this work, this project, apply it to your situation, relationship, the last thing we normally do is we put a signature on it. We put our name to it. We put a date on it. It's kind of signed. It's sealed, that sort of thing. So if you're finding situations where it's you're not sure how to end something or put something to rest or put something to bed, I think some inner reflection is going to be required here so that you know that you won't have to go back to it. You can be happy with it when it's finished. You can have this certain peak of joy that it is to completion. And this is creative stuff for a lot of you guys, I feel. You know, it's when I tap into these cusp readings, I just have to go purely on intuitively what the cards are telling me. Because I'm not a cusp baby, first of all. Excuse me, back to you guys. But I have to say, it's just interesting to me that these cards would come with this message of saying, you don't want to have to return. Maybe one of the ways of staying on top here is to make sure that you are doing things to a full level of authenticity and completion at this time. And some of you will be straight up really liberated or free once this project is taken care of, okay? So that's how those oracles kind of balance out. We're going to see what the message coming in from tarot, from the Cancer side for tarot is for you guys. The jumpers have been quick, so sometimes, like I spent some time shuffling before the video, but sometimes they come even more, and I don't get a chance to do my well-wishing because they're just on it, right? They're coming out so fast. Like I said, no reversals because we're jumping and popping. All right, so now from the Cancer side, we've got a Knight of Swords. Some of you, if we want to externalize, dealing with an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra at this time, right? Well, you got a little bit of Gemini here. The Knights normally move through their elements. So this is moving through some sort of thought process. This is kind of like, I feel, coming out of a victimization situation where, you know, maybe you drew the short straw and you're like, oh, F-bomb, like that's horrible. I wish it hadn't have been that way. Or you got the short end of the stick. Maybe somebody, you know, promised you something and then didn't deliver. And then could be some resentment that is built up in certain situations. But this is like a mental clearing that's occurring. This is a mental letting go. The Knight of Swords is the one that comes to the realization that this has no power over me. This has no power over me. Neither does this, that, or the other thing. When we break it down and we see what is it that we really want, where are we truly going, and what's the simplest path between point A and point B, then these things will slowly start to disappear. But we have to be in recognition of what those things are. Why can't we get this done? Whatever it is that we're procrastinating on here, why can't we have that, right? And with this Peaks of Joy coming up here, we have to say there is maybe some risk here if we don't take care of the unfinished symphony that we may miss a deadline, okay? Wow, because we've got the Page of Swords here too. A situation where certain people may have been getting to you, talking about you, gossiping about you, evaluating you, and maybe even criticizing or judging you unfairly, I feel, okay? Three of Wands, you may have at some point made a decision to leave this situation, or you weren't aware of awareness of it, but you tried to bury it possibly, okay? And you've been fighting that ever since. And that's just when this many cards come out from tarot, I just got to tell the mundane story how it is, how it lays, okay? Which is how tarot speaks. So, but these oracle cards, this has been sort of like the most non-direct messages I've received of all the cusp readings is for you guys with this Peaks of Joy and this unfinished symphony. It's kind of like, what are we doing here? Are we sitting on cloud nine, but are we doing it like kind of with a knowledge like that one slip up or one kind of thing might lead to a downfall? I hope not. I just hope it's a situation where it's like you have something working really well for you. You just sort of need to own it, to make it your own. I even possibly see you maybe like telling some people to beat it. And by beat it, I mean like take a hike kind of thing, just because you want to remain in this energy, in this focus without too much detraction. The tarot message now coming in from the Gemini side is the Ace of Swords. And we've got a lot of swords up from tarot. So whatever is going on here, this is kind of like a mental thing or a mental game going on with you guys. Maybe with yourself that you're not in recognition of. It's kind of like to and fro. Maybe it's kind of like one day the ego is very relaxed and you're very aware and observant. And you're coming in with a lot of confidence. And then the next day all this confidence builds up and then you go out and maybe you get a little cocky, a little conceited, a little arrogant. And I'm not accusing you of anything, but it may just be coming across as that because maybe you have a lot and you like to flaunt it, and that's okay, nothing wrong with that. But there could be situations where you're like wondering, well, why is everybody butthurt around me, or why can't I shake this dog feeling of maybe I've got a lot going on for me, but feeling a little bit lonely, right? The other side of that could be where it's like solitude is kind of tough and the mind is working its way through loneliness into recognizing the blessings of solitude. Just what I'm picking up. Let's take a look. This is an 81 card tarot deck called Gaia Dreamers, I think, or Dreamer Gaia. I shouldn't even say what it's called if I don't know what it's called. I just know it's pretty awesome. I thought I would use it for these cusp readings because it's like, it's kind of new style, right? 81 cards. Like, oh my goodness. Oh, don't break the rules of tarot, right? This creator was awesome. I'll mention it too in the, I don't have the box nearby to remember their name, the creator, but it's pretty awesome. Okay. So the best path to follow, you guys on the Gemini Cancer cusp, you guys have pulled card number 5. Of air, okay? So this is, again, equivalent to more swords, all right? So with the 8 being up and now the 5 of air being up, this is kind of like saying some of you might be being your own worst enemy, and some of you might be in conflictual situations where it's like somebody has to go, somebody has to leave, somebody, it's like, this town ain't big enough for the 2 of us, and they go out to Main Street and they shoot it up Old West style, that kind of thing, right, with this 5 of Cups. But make sure you stand strong in your identity if you decide to go to battle with this person, right? And we also want to remember the difference of, okay, maybe someone's too focused on the battle, but maybe that focus on the battle, they're losing the war as a result of it. So you want to be that one that's stepping back, that's seeing the bigger snippet, the bigger snapshot, the bigger picture of what's going on. And if they want to fret and have a bone to pick with you about some ticky-tacky mundane thing, you go ahead and let them, but you don't let it get to you. Okay? That's the message. 5. All right, let's get a clarifier on that. Best path to follow, 5 of swords. So it's all the swords here. It's like, let go mentally of what's going on here. Let go of the little bullshit, the little stuff. It's like, don't sweat that stuff, or you're at risk of like kind of jumping out of the fire, out of the frying pan into the fire. All right, because there's transformation. This is here, I feel, for you, in order to bring about some kind of change, in order for you to understand something about yourself and root it fundamentally, with cause, down into your being, down into your Akash, so that you can feel, your higher self can feel that you're in a place where you are ready to move on and receive additional blessings, right? It's like a peak of joy. Can we end the symphony on a peak of joy? Can we end this symphony on a high note? That would be awesome. We don't want to leave it on a low note, but we need to end it where we are in control and not somebody else, okay? So that's the message I got for you, Gemini Cancer. Let me know in the comments section if you enjoyed these videos. I always love hearing from you guys. It's always a pleasure to read for you, no matter if you're a cusper, a moon sign, a sun sign, an ascendant sign, whatever it may be. Even if your Venus is in half of these planets, take it for what it's worth at this moment in space and time. I love you all, and we'll see you next time.